I'm from Stokesley and I went to Stokesley School, and 9 years ago I was sitting exactly where you are now, wondering what I was going to do for my A-levels. The A-levels I chose were physics, maths, further maths, chemistry and AS level German. And I chose them because I knew I wanted to do physics at university. Sounds really cheesy, but for me it was never really a choice. I always knew I wanted to do physics. Ever since I was really young, I was really interested in particle physics. It seemed like those people were asking the really big questions about what the universe is and where we came from. And the way they're doing that is they're looking at the building blocks of what makes us up. We all know we're made of atoms, and if you go smaller than that, you can break an atom up into a proton and a neutron and an electron. And where does that end? That's what they're trying to find out. If you go smaller than that, you get down to quarks, and you can go smaller and smaller and further. And the idea is that eventually you might be able to find the actual things that make up everything. And once you've got that, you can understand the rules of how they work, and then you can understand everything in the universe by working your way up again. I've always thought that was really exciting. So once I finished off at Stokesley, I went to Oxford to study physics, and I had a really great time. When I finished that, I decided to stay on and do a PhD. And now I'm in Japan, working on an experiment called T2K. We're studying neutrinos, which are one of the weirdest particles that we've ever discovered. Neutrinos are really tiny, and they hardly ever interact with anything. So in fact, there are millions of them passing through you right at this moment, and you never even notice. But the really strange thing about neutrinos is that there's three types of them: muon type, electron type, and tau type. And one single neutrino can change from one type to another. So if you make one type of neutrino and you leave it long enough, after a while you might have a completely different type. And that's what we're studying on T2K. Here in Tokaimura, we're making a beam of muon neutrinos, and we're sending them 300 kilometers across Japan to Super Kamiokande at the other end. And there, they're looking to see what type of neutrinos they get. They get a lot of muon neutrinos, which is what we send them, but they also get a whole load of other types of neutrinos, which we didn't make, and that's the neutrinos changing. We call that neutrino oscillation. That's what I'm studying. I'm working on my PhD looking at exactly how the neutrinos change and how many different neutrinos we get at the other side. We get our beam of neutrinos using this proton accelerator. The protons are accelerated almost to the speed of light and then smashed into a graphite wall. The particle interactions that happen there help us to produce a beam of muon-type neutrinos. This is the T2K near detector, here where I work in Tokai. The red thing you can see is a magnet which surrounds the entire thing. Inside there is a state-of-the-art particle detector, which uses more than 5 different types of technology to examine the particles and help us work out what's really going on. As well as analysing data, I do a lot of work on hardware and electronics, keeping the experiment running. I knew literally nothing about electronics before I started my PhD, but you learn on the job. It's a really important job to do, which can be pretty stressful, but it's a lot of fun and a great project to be part of. I'm really enjoying myself. I hope you all really enjoy the science and engineering day today. Physics is a really great subject to study, and you'll really love it if you want to understand the universe and how everything works. You learn to think about things in a whole completely different way, and you learn to understand things from how the touchscreen on your iPhone works, all the way out to why the universe exists and what we're all doing here. Even if you don't think that you want a career in physics, it's a really great subject to have on your CV for A-level or at university. Employers really value the problem-solving skills that you learn. So it's a really great thing to study, and you might just discover that you love it.